Hi there. Okay, this wasn't something that I'd wanted to do either, but I kind of feel I need to do it. I had spoken on GT in the past, and there's something I need to address about it because I've been seeing this more and more lately, and I've been seeing, especially since Battle of Gods came out, more and more people trying to shill for this series. Oh, it wasn't that bad. Oh, it was good. Oh, you just like the Dragon Ball Z stuff and don't appreciate the fact that GT went back to the spirit of Dragon Ball. And I'm not okay. You know what? Wow. But anyways, I digress. But it seems ever since that movie came out, more and more people are trying to act like GT is somehow important, that GT can actually still be canon. There are actually people trying to argue that GT is canon by default. Um, even folks like some of the folks on the Dragon Ball wiki keep editing the GT page to try to say Toriyama wrote the thing when he did not. He's given an honorary writing credit similar to the way Stan Lee is given an honorary writing credit for the source material on Marvel films. His executive producer credit also honorary. Um, that doesn't mean that they actually produced the film. That doesn't mean they actually wrote for the film. That just means that it's based on their written work. So they're given a writing credit for that purpose. Um, Toriyama has also said many times that the closest he had ever been involved in any anime production for Dragon Ball had been Battle of Gods, and now this one he's directly involved in. He is writing everything with Fukatsu no F. So it's a case of how do I say it? It is a case of people wanting to make their own reality there, but what I really want to address is this notion that, well, first of all, that there are fewer plot holes in this than in Toriyama's Dragon Ball. No. I'll tell you this right off the bat. The power scaling. Everyone keeps trying to say Dragon Ball's power scaling makes no sense. That's not exactly true. Um, and I will explain that in a moment. I mean, it's because people like will have a power level of like 300 something, and then someone else will have a power level of like 397 versus 365, and the guy with 397 is supposed to be a bit stronger than the guy with 365. And that is true, but see, then when you start getting into bigger numbers, the gap is a bit more mitigated. So, I mean, when you're dealing in the millions, then yeah, you're going to be going by how close they are in the million. The scaling still works, it's just a bit odd. But I'm not even going to touch on that in the moment. I'm not going to go into the finer details of that. That's not the point here. It's the fact that even if you want to say that that scaling is a bit wonky or, a bit too loose, I mean, Goku in GT is facing enemies that are pushing him at this point in his life, at this point in his training, at this point in his strength level to go Super Saiyan. These are people who should have had absolutely no trouble whatsoever fighting Frieza at all. None. I mean, okay, people want to say, oh, what about Majin Buu? What about Buu was dormant for like a million years, I think, eons, and Cell was, kind of created later. So, I mean, the fact that there was supposedly someone out there that could take on Frieza, I mean, that's like something you'd see in the Dragon Ball Z movie, and that right there would tell you that it's not meant to be canon. But I digress. But yeah, the fact that fighting someone like Legic made him have to go Super Saiyan, and the fact that Don Key somehow only has this planet when he's got a henchman there, or a mercenary, or a bodyguard, however you want to frame him, who could have gone out there, completely wiped out Frieza, and taken his empire. It just makes no sense to me. But but this is and then Goku having to go Super Saiyan 4 to lift a building. I mean, that's probably one of the most infamous cases. Um, Baby having to, in his Uzaru form, in Vegeta having to fire a Gallic gun once at the Earth, and then just causes a massive earthquake, and then one more shot should destroy. I mean, really? that doesn't even make sense. It really doesn't. Um, but it's just so screwed up. But the thing I really want to address is this notion that it somehow returned to the spirit of Dragon Ball. Now, I'm not going to touch on. Well, no. Okay. Oh, gosh. This is going to be a bit more lengthy than I wanted it to be, I guess. This notion is born from the idea that Dragon Ball was this completely separate series with this completely separate set of events, and then Dragon Ball Z comes along and tries to make everything super serious and edgy, and GT then tried to go back to Dragon Ball. Now, there's a problem with that. First and foremost, everything in GT tries to be dark. Everything. The Dragon Balls, the mystical, sweet Dragon Balls, that have this amazing power that, once a year goes by, you can make a wish and get anything you want, and, everybody was chasing it for their own reasons, and Goku just wanted his ball back because it was his grandpa's, and all that good stuff. That's not in GT at all. Are there people hunting for the Dragon Balls again? Yes. Are there some light-hearted moments in it? Well, they try to be, but GT by its very nature tries to be edgy. It tries to be dark. I mean, from the very get-go, the Dragon Balls, the Black Star Dragon Balls, they were made when Kami and Piccolo were still one, so they're infinitely more powerful. Oh, and because they have Piccolo's evil instilled in them too, they'll make the planet blow up. Oh, and the only way that you can get that you can stop making the planet blow up is to get all the Dragon Balls back and gather them in one spot on planet Earth within a year. And then it won't blow up. Really? That's the spirit of Dragon Ball? Trying to stop complete and total planetary devastation in a desperate scramble to grab 7 Dragon Balls on different planets scattered all over the galaxy? No. I mean, people want to cite that. They want to cite the brothers. Oh God, I can't even remember their name. The guys who made people dance. It's like, yeah, okay, that's silly, but I mean, you can't escape the fact that the entire planet's going to explode if they don't find this stuff. This wasn't a quirky, lighthearted adventure. This was a desperate attempt to save a planet. Um, and really, the stuff that they did try to throw in to be all light and quirky kind of is out of place with, the fact that they have to kind of hurry or everyone's going to die. Um, then to top that off, at the end you find out that, oh, hey, you used them too much and they cracked open and now all these evil dragons come out. Now that's kind of cool, I suppose. It's just that, really, they didn't overuse them much because they used them a few times in DBZ and all, but they waited for that time limit. The Dragon Balls, were restored, etc., yada yada. And then there was like over a decade, or well, well over a decade, supposedly. Uh, Wait, well, it depends on how much time has passed between Z and GT, but there was quite a span of time where nobody had to use the Dragon Balls. Nobody was not an issue, and yet apparently that wasn't enough to allow any of the energy to, you know, be mitigated or undone because then they try to use them twice more and boom, gone. But really, I mean, this series, and then you get to like, the baby arc and everything, and then it's like everything that people complained about with Z on steroids. That supposed spirit of Dragon Ball, it's gone. And even then, and I want to talk about that because the spirit of Dragon Ball, people keep talking about that, and really, they act like it was this cutesy little quirky journey to the West throughout the entire thing, and just so adorable. And then Z came along and tried to be this edgelord series. No, Dragon Ball stopped being anything like Journey to the West in any kind of significant fashion after the first arc. After that, it started forging its own identity, and while it could still be goofy, you could see it gradually getting more and more serious. It went from being just a really comedic romp to being a bit more serious with Goku and taking his training seriously, gaining a rival. They go to this tournament, they fight in it, trying to prove they're the best. They make it pretty far, they ultimately lose, but Goku turns into a giant frigging monkey in front of everyone and tries to kill everyone. And Roshi had to blow up the frigging moon to stop him. And then you got the next arc even is Goku going off to train, bumps into the Red Ribbon Army. They're going around basically killing people, trying to collect the Dragon Balls. Goku has to stop them. Um, Makes a friend who's basically a cartoonish version of the Frankenstein's monster in Android 8. Starts gathering more of the Dragon Balls, laying waste to the Red Ribbon Army as he goes. And then the Red Ribbon Army brings in Mercenary Tao, who not only kills Goku's friend's father, Upa's father, but almost kills him. That is not exactly, you know, lighthearted and cutesy. That is another case of the series taking a very serious turn. Um, then after that, you have him trying to find the last of the Dragon Balls, having to fight in Baba's tournament, meeting his grandpa again one last time. Finally going after the last of the Red Ribbon Army, brings Upa's father back to life. Gotta go look for him again. 3 years later, that tournament shows up. Everyone shows up for it. Tien and Chiaotzu show up. Tien plans to kill Goku to avenge Tao's death. And while that doesn't, in the end, happen, it was still a murder revenge plot. And then Piccolo shows up. This series got progressively more serious and more dark as it went. It was something that evolved and matured with its hero, so to speak. As the years went by, as the audience grew, as the audience grew up, and as Goku began to grow up, the series was getting progressively more mature. King Piccolo tried to take over the world, unleash hell on earth, and reveled in the chaos of people turning on each other and trying to run for their lives and having really nowhere to go, as he had, for all intents and purposes, conquered the planet because there was no one living at that point in time who could hope to stand up to him. Piccolo Jr. Shows up to kill Goku for trying to kill him slash his father. Um, Massive devastation. I mean, he unleashes a shockwave for crying out loud with the power of a nuclear blast. I mean, stuff was getting pretty goddamn serious. What ended with both of them basically beaten to a pulp, unable to move, everything broken and battered. And then Z came along. And it really just went from there, and it didn't actually get too much darker than that. There's actually a lot of the quote unquote spirit of Dragon Ball alive in Z. There were still some really goofy, silly moments. And I mean, if you can't see that, I'm sorry, but it is there, and it's not only there, it's prominently there, and it actually fits in with the series. It also doesn't require basing an entire arc on filler. That makes no sense. It also doesn't require two characters being able to quote unquote build another version of a character who is actually a living, breathing human being that they had modified, much less having them fuse, having the same power level, causing them to become many thousands, if not millions times stronger. Yeah, that makes total sense. Not to mention the fact that it's that gaining those energy absorbers? I mean, did how? I mean, did the one even have them on here? Yeah, I don't. I'm not even. It's just stupid. It was an excuse to create an overpowered villain and bring back a character that people wanted to see again, basically. And it's just, oh yeah. I mean, The whole thing was just. Ugh, I don't see how people can try to claim that GT has the spirit of Dragon Ball. It simply does not. I mean, even Dragon Ball Z, which again in the manga is Dragon Ball. The whole thing, beginning to end, is just Dragon Ball. I mean, you got Goku showing up on Namek and facing the Ginyu Force, who are very goofy villains. They're extremely powerful, yes, and deadly, and yes, you should take them seriously in a fight, but they are on their surface goofy. The Sentai poses, the everything. That's why they were created, was to be a Super Sentai parody. I mean, this stuff lived in Dragon Ball throughout the entire thing. I mean, look at some of the stuff Majin Buu would do. In fact, Boo is arguably more of a return to the Dragon Ball spirit than anything else. I mean, you have a villain who's based around. I mean, look at Z. Aliens. Robots from the future, or artificial beings from the future built in labs. You know, robot assassins sent to kill someone and someone coming back in time. Yeah, there's Terminator inspiration, and that's admitted. Just like the Red Ribbon Army was actually inspired by a video game. It and well, Nazis. It's something that has existed throughout the thing. Throughout the entire thing. He has odd inspiration for things, but he can turn it into something cool. And but then you got Majin Buu, and Majin Buu did it in a sense go back to the origins of Dragon Ball. I mean, it was mystical, magical. Majin Buu was, a demon that had been conjured into this plane by Bibidi, and then Babidi, his son, finds him eons later and resurrects him, and the enemy's a wizard, has magic powers, and I mean, you got a villain who will turn people into candy to munch on them, and then he split, and yeah, it does get more serious as it progresses, but really, that is the Dragon Ball spirit. And that is something that they went back to Dragon Ball's roots with. They brought the magic back. It wasn't all, science and space aliens and etc. It was, just a magical little romp. And really, there was for everybody that complains about that stuff, in Dragon Ball Z, it was in Dragon Ball too. I mean, you had the Red Ribbon Army, and they were creating the androids there, and they also created oh crap, what's that thing's name? Bouillon, I believe, that monster that was in the Muscle Tower. The one that Goku, the stupid guy who can't strategize, used his brain to beat by punching a hole in the wall after he realized he couldn't hurt him, freezing him solid and then shattering him. You know, that 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 Goku. Yeah. Anyways, um, it GT just simply does not have the Dragon Ball spirit. It tried to, and I will give it that, but really it just ultimately failed to capture it. Because in the end, they abandoned even what they had tried to do, and I would argue that they weren't even necessarily trying to do that. But if they were trying to recreate the old days of Dragon Ball, they kind of failed. Because they abandoned it very, very quickly. And they brought in enemies that were requiring these characters to go Super Saiyan again, and it's like, why? I mean, why even did you not? Uh, uh, and it just they did some pretty silly and kind of stupid stuff in that series, and I mean, they base an entire arc on anime filler, and then they don't even get the filler right when it comes to the Tuffles. They completely botched the. I mean, it's like, yeah, the Saiyans were bad. Oh, we get it, but If this guy's supposed to be the last Tuffle in terms of baby and have his entire race's collective will in him, why is he trying to become the Saiyans and conquer another planet? And it's like, if anything, you'd think that he'd be thinking he's doing them a favor, not, trying to subjugate another race. And I mean, does that mean the Tuffles were just as bad? We're not supposed to feel bad? What? I don't know. They kind of ruined their chances for a remotely complex character there, but I digress. But I don't understand this sudden belief or notion that GT somehow is like old school Dragon Ball. I don't get that. I really don't. Having watched and read, most importantly, old school Dragon Ball, it's really not old school Dragon Ball. Not by a long shot. It has less the spirit of Dragon Ball and more the spirit of the Dragon Ball Z filler, to be perfectly blunt. Well, anyways, that's enough of me rambling about this subject. I, I will catch you guys later. See ya.